Hello everyone and welcome to my class to continue with the second theme of class 12th history, that is kings, farmers and the towns. Till so far we have discussed that 600 BC to 600 CE is an important time period in Indian history, since lots of development took place during these centuries, right? And especially the emergence of the big empires can be seen during this time frame. To understand or to construct the history of that time frame or any time frame, since in history we deals with the past, so historians are dependent on various kinds of sources. So throughout this chapter we'll be discussing about the importance of sources for different time frames, right? So again, continuing with this, today I am going to discuss an important topic, that is land grants and the new rural elites. Now let's start the topic, land grants. In my previous video I have given an indication about the land grants. It is an important feature of Gupta period. When the Gupta dynasty was ruling in India, at that time a new tradition was developed where the rulers or the person who is having a high authority, they used to grant land to their ministers, to Brahmins, to any ordinary person. And the most important thing was that they used to make a record of those things. How? By using copper plate. Whatever the land was granted to any person, that was registered in the copper plates, and it contains the detail about the land, the extent of the land, to whom it was donated, all these things, right? So these inscriptions, these copper plate inscriptions became an important source of information about that time period, right? Now it is prevalent during the time of Guptas. It is often registered in the form of inscriptions, especially on the copper plates. Then it is generally written. Most of these inscriptions are written in Sanskrit, but in few regions it is found in Tamil, Telugu. Regional variations do have its impact on writing the inscriptions, right? So some of the copper plate inscriptions are found in Tamil and Telugu language also, but prominently Sanskrit was used for writing the inscriptions, right? Then it is believed that it is given by the ruling authority to the two different persons for different motives, right? Here is an exceptional example of Prabhavati Gupta, who believed to be the daughter of Chandragupta II, right? She was an exceptional case. Why it is important to discuss Prabhavati Gupta here? Because according to the Brahmanical text or the Hindu legal text, women in the Indian society at that time were not having any claim over property. They cannot access any property like land. But in case of Prabhavati Gupta, one inscription is found which gives detail that she was married to a Vakataka ruler, again a ruling dynasty. She was married into a ruling dynasty. Vakataka rulers usually their kingdom was in the Deccan, and she in that inscription was describing giving land grants to people. So if she is having the rights over the land, she is donating to other people, giving land grants. So such is an exceptional case, because this shows that the land grant or the rights over property was this rule was not applicable uniformly in the society, or maybe her case was different. She was a queen, so for her the rules were different, right? This shows that the rules were not same for all, right? Now that is why this example is given, right? Such exceptional things are also found in or also existed during that time. Now it also gives us about these inscriptions, these copper plate inscriptions gives us information about the rural population, that how the people they used to give tributes to the ruling authorities, especially king, or in rural areas probably the person who is having that authority, or who are the representatives of the king. They used to give taxes, they used to give gifts, they used to give tributes to them, right? So such detail, such inscription shows the link between the rural population and the ruling authority, right? Then historians are of different view why this system of land grant probably started. It was not existing earlier. What was the need to start this system here, right? Some of the historians believe that it was a strategy adopted by the ruling lineages to extend agriculture to new areas, right? See, at that time the population was less, and the ruling, whosoever were ruling at that time, just to extend the agricultural land, for clearing of forests, they used to give such lands in donations, so that the person who had received these land grants better utilize that land, right? And by bringing vast stretches of land under cultivation, the productivity can increase and they can extract more revenue, right? So this might be the purpose of or this might be the strategy used by the ruling authorities at that time. Historians believed that this was probably a strategy to bring more and more area under cultivation. Now, some of the historians suggested that it is an indicative of weakening of political power, like kings start losing control over samantas. In case of weak rulers, this can be applied that they, if they failed, or if they are not capable enough to hold large extent of their empires, then usually such kings are dependent on samantas, on their ministers, right? And giving land to their ministers or samantas, they actually try to hold or try to control the land, right? This again proved to be a very risky step, because later on these samantas became very strong, very prosperous than the king, right? And they often revolted against the ruler, right? So this can be one of the viewpoint of the historians. It is also believed that it was used to display the authority. If a person is having large stretches of land, or controlling a large kingdom, then just to display his authority, just to display his power, he used to grant land to the people, right? That he is having such a huge empire, such huge kingdom, that he can give a part of that to any person on as a grant, right? So this is another perception of the historians, the purpose, probably the purpose behind giving land grants by the ruling authorities, right? All these things, these land grants, this practice, plus writing these land grants, about these land grants on the inscriptions, gives ample of information about the rural society and the ruling society, their relation between these two, the authorities and the rural public, right? Though it gives ample of information about them, but still the information about the fishermen, the pastoralist group, the shifting cultivators, hunter and gatherers, these were such vulnerable groups or marginalized groups which were still not included in such category where their records can be kept. So information about these groups are still not available, since no record making was done for them, no records were written for them, right? So on one side, as a source of information, the inscriptions or the copper plate inscriptions, this gives information about the rural society. But as far as these sections of the societies are concerned, rural societies are concerned, like the fisherman, pastelists, shifting cultivators, hunter and gatherers, no such information, direct information is available on them, right? So this is all about the land grant inscriptions and its importance in writing the history. Do like, share and review this, and please subscribe this channel. Thank you.